Alright, hey Live Kids, this is Adrian, and today I'm with Taylor. We're going to go over the guitar part on Your Love Never Fails. Again, let me just preface this with the fact that we're not trying to teach you how to play your instrument. This is more so how to play these songs and get you to have some fun playing the music up there on stage during kids' services. So again, this isn't about learning the theory behind the music or anything like that. This is all about having some fun, getting that instrument out and doing something with it for God's glory. So, the first thing I want to mention is that on this song we're actually going to use a capo. The key of this song is B flat, I believe, and so the fingerings on guitar for that key is just, it's going to be a lot of work, especially for young little hands to try to maneuver down the neck of that guitar for all those chords. And so what we're going to do is just make it a little easier for you by putting that capo on there and transposing. That way that can transpose the music to a key that's just more suitable for small hands and guitars. Looking at the music, it says intro, pluck the second and third open strings in rhythm to the intro and end with the D chord. So let's kind of look to see what that means, to pluck the strings and to do that to rhythm. Taylor, can you give us an example? Alright, now Taylor, I noticed you had your hand up on the neck. Were you actually touching those two strings that you were plucking?
No.
What are you doing on there?
I have this finger that I'm not plucking on this string, so that when I'm ready to play a D, that one finger is already on there.
I gotcha. So your finger is just resting itself on that bottom string because it's not being plucked or anything, right? So it's just there at the ready for that D chord at the very end?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Okay, and tell us why it says plucking too, because can you give us an example of what that would mean, plucking and not picking? So tell me what you mean by that.
If you're plucking it, you're just going to use two of your fingers. You're going to sound it like that, so it has a abrupt sound to
right.
It instead of a slur.
It does make a big difference. All right, thank you. Now, getting through that intro still means that we're going to have to play some chords, because the intro, the pluck pattern on the intro, is just for the very first part of the intro section. It then goes into the oh, ah, ah, oh, ah, ah. That whole part right there has chords associated with it. So these chords, E minor, C, G, and D, are the four chords, and there's an A minor in there somewhere too, but there's only 5 chords of this whole song. And the good thing is that these 5 chords are really simple to play. So since we're using that capo, we've turned this song into a very simple song to play on guitar. Again, chords, if you haven't got one of these yet, go ahead and find yourself a good basic chord chart that shows you the basic chords. We found a really good book. It's a long time. I think this was back when I was a kid, but it has real easy fingerings for a lot of the chords, the basic chords that we run into with a lot of songs. Again, you don't even need to do that. I know on YouTube or any other place on the internet, where this is just I typed in E minor guitar chord and clicked on images, and I got hundreds of images of the E minor chord. So the chords are out there. You got the internet, you're connected. You can find all kinds of good resources for that at home. We're not really going to go through the fingerings, but what we do want to concentrate on is those patterns. Let's go ahead and hear that E minor, C, G, D pattern that ends the intro, Taylor. That's the E minor chord, C chord, that's the G chord, that's the D chord. Alright, so that E minor, C, G, D progression is going to carry us through that whole first verse. If you look at the first verse now, you realize that it's E minor, C, G, D. And then again, E minor, C, G, D. Then again, E minor, C, G, D. And then again, E minor, C, G, D. So that same chord progression carries us all the way through the first verse. Alright, so what I've asked Taylor to do now is he's going to play through the first section that we just learned. We're starting with the introduction. That means the plucking the second and third string at the very beginning. He's going to go right into the chord progression of E minor, C, G, D for the O, ah, ah, O. Then he's going to carry that same progression through the entire verse 1. Here we go. Keep going. I want to start saying chords. E minor, C, G, and D. Same progression. One more time. E minor, C, G, and D. Alright, we're going to move on to chorus 1. The chords on chorus 1, or the chord progression, is going to be C, G, D, and now we're going to throw an A minor in there. So you're going to have to get back to your book or the internet and figure out what A minor is to learn to play that. But it's C, G, D, A minor. Then it repeats C, G, D, A minor. And then we go to the O, ah, ah, O again, which is just like the first one. It's going to be the E minor, C, G, and D progression again. So the chorus, remember on the Newsboys version, they cut the chorus in half the first time through, and so you're only getting a piece of the chorus, but the progression is C, G, D, A minor. Taylor, let's go ahead and try that. Here comes the chorus. C, G, D, A minor, C, G, D, A minor. Then right back to the top. E minor, C, G, D. Good deal. That carries on through this next verse. E minor, C, G, and D. Alright, so as you can see, those patterns, those chord progression continue to the rest of the song, even through the entirety of chorus 2. It's just that C, G, D, A minor, C, G, D, A minor, and so on, all the way through the chorus. And then we get down to the bridge. The bridge is pretty interesting in this case because it has a C, G, D pattern. So instead of throwing that E minor like they did during the verses, they just start with C, then go to G, D, and then again C, G, D. So it makes it really simple for the guitar players just to continue with what they're doing. It's just one less chord to remember during that bridge. So anyway, we're going to practice that bridge just to hear it once, and that'll do it. Then we'll switch over to some different techniques you can have during the song with your strumming and fingerings and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and play the bridge for us. We're going to start off at the end of chorus 2, and then when the bridge takes off, I'll go ahead and let you know. Alright, here comes the bridge. G and D. Again. C, G, and D. One more time. And final chorus. Wait for it. Start with a C. G, D, A minor, C, G, D, A minor. All the way through the end of the song. Keep it going, keep it going. And right back to the very beginning. E minor, C, G, D, and on an E minor. There you go. Perfect. Alright guys, so now you got the basics of the song, the entire song. And what I'm just going to show you real quick now is just a little something extra. Say you got those chords down, you're real comfortable with those chords. Just to let you know, there's always extra stuff you can practice at home or extra little things you can try to figure out on your own. I just want to give you a little idea of what that would look like. So what Taylor's going to show you here is just some rhythm added to it, some extra little strumming patterns that you can do, and even a little guitar picking. So on that first intro, Taylor, what would that sound like? Start with the very first part of the song, the 2-string plucking. Right, little pick in there. Now you see the strumming? Now it's back to the down strum. Go. Little picking again, and the strum picks up. See, we just did another walkthrough, this time with the guitar. I hope you had fun listening to it. I know we had fun here. Again, you can get as complicated as you want on a guitar with the strumming, with the picking, all that stuff. I think even the more you do, the funner it's going to be for you to practice. So anyway, I think it's time to say goodbye, right? And it was fun. I hope you had